Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jack, and welcome to Scares and Nightmares Season 3, Episode 2. Now, I know it's been a little bit since I uploaded Episode 1. It's been about maybe a good month or so. I'm sorry about the long wait, but, to be honest with you, I haven't really had any weird nightmares or something like that, or weird experiences that I think are creepy enough to talk about, at least. But fortunately, just this past night, right now it's about maybe 7:15, 7:20 in the morning as of right now, and I had like one of the strangest and also the one and only few nightmares I've ever had where I've actually experienced like true fear, like in my bones. Last night I experienced that for the first time, like in a nightmare at least. Because all the nightmares I've had, there's obviously a lot of them. They've all been really terrifying, but I don't think there's ever really been one that's made me like instill true fear that I could actually feel inside of my bones as I woke up. So, excuse me, still trying to wake up a little bit. So, what I dreamt last night is pretty random, I'm gonna have to say. So, I just need everyone that will watch and listen to just bear with me here, because obviously I don't choose for any of the shit that I dream. But what I'm about to tell you, though, it is really one of the creepiest moments of a nightmare that I've ever had. And when I tell you this, it's actually not going to sound that scary. It may not sound that scary to anybody, but I remember pretty much every minute of when I was in that dream. It's almost as if like I was actually there. So I don't know how long or short this video is going to be, but I'm going to go ahead and just tell you guys a story for everything I can remember, at least. So what happened was, as far as I can remember, I was inside of my old house because I moved out about a little over a year ago, last year, and that house that I moved out from, I lived there for like 10 years. I lived there for about 10 years with my family. And so basically what happened was, I was in my room, I was just chilling out, just kind of minding my own business. And I went out into the living room area, because we had like a decent sized living room. And everything was fine as soon as I went out there. And then like all of a sudden, everyone in my house like started arguing like really bad about something. And me personally, when my family argues and I happen to be there, I don't like it. I tend to it doesn't feel right with me. So like I try to just stay out of it pretty much. So instead of going back to my room, what I did was, I did go back to my room for a second, but I went back to my room, I grabbed my cell phone and my headphones, and I put in my earbuds, and just so I didn't want to hear the arguing, I put in my earbuds, I put on a song, and I turned the volume up, and I went outside and stood on the porch for a minute, and it started raining, and it was kind of dark outside. It wasn't fully pitch black, but it was starting to get there. It was past sunset, but it wasn't completely fully dark yet, and it started raining, not heavily, but just like normal rain. But for some reason, I didn't care. And pretty much like I walked off from the porch, and I just started walking around my yard while listening to this song, because I was just trying to pass the time, I guess, and I didn't really want to walk far from where I was, because it was raining. But so I start walking around the yard, and as I'm like coming off the sidewalk to get onto like the sidewalk where the street is, I look across the street, and the street's kind of, it's not far away, but like it's a little bit of a ways away, but it's not far. Like you can see stuff happening in the background over there across the street. And for some reason, this isn't the way my neighborhood was, so I don't know why it was like this in my nightmare, but outside my house, there's my yard and everything, and we have all our neighbor houses around us on my side of the street. And on the opposite side of the street, there was a couple of houses, like right across from me. And to my right of those houses, there was like an apartment complex. And it looked like it was a complex maybe like for rich people or something. I don't know. That doesn't really make sense, I know. But apparently, like, with the style that they were, they had like big windows where you could like fully see inside of everyone's house and stuff. And apparently none of these people use like shades or nothing like that. Apparently they really just didn't care or something. So I walk off the porch and I'm walking on my sidewalk, and I see what looks like a person dressed up as Michael Myers, like chasing after someone. And I didn't think anything of it at first. I thought it was just like a joke or something. So I kind of just ignored it. I saw it. I kind of like raised my eyebrow a little bit, like what? But at the same time, I just ignored it because I really didn't think it was anything. And I just saw him like chasing like a random guy or something like that, and he was walking fast after him. He didn't see me though, because for some reason his focus was fully on that person, and he didn't look over to see me. So anyway, I mind my own business. I don't worry about it. I'm just walking around my yard. I'm listening to a song on my earbuds. Excuse me. And I'm listening to the Motionless in White song, Holding On to Smoke. That's from their latest album, Disguise, from 2019. Don't know why it was that song that I was listening to, even though that's a great ass song. So the last thing I remember was, as I was walking around my yard, I turn around and I start walking down the sidewalk a little bit of ways, and I look up at those apartments, and I see like a apartment house like right there at the edge of the street right there. And I look up and I just see like a random kid that's like looking outside of his window and his back door, because whatever he lived in, he was like on the second floor. He wasn't on the bottom floor. I saw him just looking out the window, just looking at all the rain and stuff and the thunder and lightning. And after that, I look over to my left and I see like the houses and stuff right across the street from me. And I see like the dude who was dressed up as Michael Myers, like trying to get into the house, I guess, where that guy ran, but he couldn't get in for some reason. And all of a sudden he stops and looks over at me, and then he pulls out like his knife that he carries, and all of a sudden he starts like pursuing after me, and I'm running, and I can see like he's literally like 7-8 feet behind me, like, but because he's walking after me like really fast. Like for some reason, whoever this was could walk really, really fast. Like he could walk fast enough that while I was running, like he could almost keep up with me. And the last thing I remember was I got back to the door of my house, and as soon as I got to the door, I turned around to slam it shut, and then I saw him like literally turn the corner, like he was just about to come inside the house. And I remember slamming the door, but he was like at the door right at the moment when I slammed it. And that's where it ended. I don't know if I actually shut the door in time and not unlocked it. Because right whenever I was slamming the door, like that's just where the nightmare ended. And I never figured out if I actually escaped him or not. But it was in that moment right there where he saw me and started coming after me that I started feeling that true induced fear inside of my body and my bones. And the odd thing was if any of you out there have played the game Dead by Daylight, you know that Michael Myers is a killer in the game. And whenever he's walking around trying to find, the survivors, if you're playing as a survivor and you see Michael coming towards your way, or he's near you, you'll hear like a little bit of his theme playing in the background, or a version of his theme where it's like dun 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 dun, something like that. And that's what was playing like out loud while he was like pursuing me, and it was like the scariest thing ever. And that's the first time I really ever felt true inducing fear, because I knew who this person, like, I didn't know who was under the, you know, in the costume obviously, but just like, you know, his iconic mask, the clothes that he wore, the knife, and the fact that he was like just quiet and he was just walking really fast. That right there in my brain is because like I knew who this person was. I've seen him in a lot of movies and stuff, and that alone like made me terrified, because there was someone generally trying to do me harm. And I got inside, tried to slam the door shut, and I don't know if I ever made it. So it was a weird dream, a weird nightmare, I know, but I hope you all enjoyed that. I'm sorry for all the really big in between episodes, but I will have more up as soon as I have another one. I'll instantly write it down, and then I'll instantly make a video on it. So that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.